John D. Rockefeller, the first billionaire of the USA. Introduction. The history of America is filled with stories of innovation, determination, and ambition. During the late 19th century, when the country was undergoing rapid industrialization, many business leaders emerged. Among them, John D. Rockefeller stands tall as a pioneer who built an empire that made him the first billionaire in the United States. His journey from humble beginnings to becoming the wealthiest man in modern history is a tale of vision, discipline, and sometimes ruthless business tactics. This is the story of the man who shaped the American oil industry, transformed modern capitalism, and left behind a legacy of both immense wealth and philanthropy. Early life. John Davison Rockefeller was born on July 8, 1839, in a modest farmhouse in Richford, New York. His father, William Avery Rockefeller, was a traveling salesman often accused of being a trickster and con man. His mother, Eliza Davison Rockefeller, was deeply religious, disciplined, and instilled in her children the values of hard work, thrift, and faith. Rockefeller grew up in modest circumstances. From an early age, he showed a keen interest in numbers, money, and business. He once said, "I always try to turn every disaster into an opportunity." At the age of 16, he found work as a clerk in a produce shipping company. This job gave him practical business experience and taught him bookkeeping, negotiation, and the importance of efficiency. The first steps in business. By 1859, the same year that oil was discovered in Pennsylvania, Rockefeller started his first company with a business partner, Maurice B. Clark. Initially, they traded in grain, meat, salt, and other goods. But Rockefeller soon realized that oil had far greater potential. In 1863, Rockefeller and a few partners established their first oil refinery near Cleveland, Ohio. He quickly saw that refining oil was more profitable than drilling it. Crude oil had limited use in its natural form, but refined oil, kerosene, could light homes and businesses. The birth of Standard Oil. In 1870, Rockefeller co-founded the Standard Oil Company. This was the turning point of his career. Standard Oil became the central pillar of his empire and would eventually dominate the oil industry in the United States. His strategies were groundbreaking. Focus on refining, not drilling. Instead of chasing oil wells, Rockefeller invested in refining crude oil into kerosene and other usable products, cutting costs. Raising quality, he introduced efficiency measures, improved technology, and constantly reduced waste. His kerosene was cheaper and better than that of competitors. Smart deals with railroads. Rockefeller negotiated favorable shipping rates with railroads. By transporting large volumes of oil, he secured lower prices than his rivals, giving him a massive advantage, eliminating competition. Through aggressive tactics, Rockefeller bought out competitors or drove them out of business. Over time, Standard Oil absorbed or controlled nearly every other refinery in the region. By the late 1870s, Standard Oil was refining over 90% of the oil in the United States. The power and the monopoly. Standard Oil was not just a company, it was an empire. Rockefeller became the most powerful businessman in America. But his success came with criticism. Many accused him of being ruthless, secretive, and monopolistic. His company's dominance over the oil industry worried the public and lawmakers alike. Newspapers described him as the robber baron of oil. Eventually, the U.S. government intervened. In 1911, the Supreme Court ruled that Standard Oil was an illegal monopoly and ordered it to be broken up into 34 independent companies. Ironically, This event did not reduce Rockefeller's wealth. Instead, it multiplied it. The smaller companies, Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and others, became hugely successful, and Rockefeller owned shares in all of them, becoming the first billionaire. By 1916, Rockefeller's fortune had soared to unprecedented heights. He became the first official billionaire in U.S. history. To put this in perspective, if his wealth were adjusted for inflation, Rockefeller's fortune would be worth over $400 billion today, making him the richest person in modern history. Despite his immense power and wealth, Rockefeller retired from day-to-day business at the age of 56. From then on, he devoted most of his life to philanthropy, a life of philanthropy. Rockefeller firmly believed that wealth carried a responsibility to improve society. He once wrote, "The man who starts out simply with the idea of getting rich won't succeed. You must have a larger ambition." Following this philosophy, he gave away more than $500 million during his lifetime. Some of his greatest contributions include education. He founded the University of Chicago in 1890, which became one of the world's leading universities. Medical research. He established the Rockefeller Foundation and the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, now Rockefeller University, which made breakthroughs in medicine, including cures for diseases. Public health. His foundation funded campaigns to eradicate diseases such as hookworm and yellow fever. Through his philanthropy, Rockefeller transformed not only industries, but also healthcare, education, and science. Personality and lifestyle. Despite his wealth, Rockefeller lived a surprisingly modest life. He was known for his discipline and frugality. He kept meticulous records of every penny he spent, even as a child. He also maintained a strong religious faith and regularly taught Sunday school. He avoided alcohol and tobacco and believed in living a simple, structured life. At the same time, he was a complex man, both admired and criticized. To some, he was a visionary genius. To others, a ruthless monopolist. Death and legacy. John D. Rockefeller lived a long life and died on May 23, 1937, at the age of 97. By then, he had witnessed the transformation of America into an industrial powerhouse, much of which was shaped by his own work. His legacy lives on in many ways. Business empire. The companies born from Standard Oil, like ExxonMobil, Chevron, and BP, are still among the world's largest energy corporations. Philanthropy. The Rockefeller Foundation and institutions he funded continue to improve education, health, and science around the globe. Historical influence. He set the standard for modern corporations, influencing business practices, antitrust laws, and philanthropy. Conclusion. John D. Rockefeller's journey from a poor farm boy in New York to becoming the first billionaire in the United States is one of the most remarkable success stories in history. His intelligence, discipline, and business strategies created an empire that transformed the oil industry and modern capitalism. But beyond his wealth, his story is also about responsibility, how immense fortune can be used to improve society. Though often controversial, Rockefeller remains a symbol of ambition, power, and philanthropy. His life teaches us that success is not just about money, but about vision, perseverance, and leaving a lasting impact on the world.